so insane.
Like this said.
Wow. It's getting wild. It's getting hot up in here. I can take bullets to the end of the day all day long. Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, can't even take a bullet. Amazing. This is crazy because, as you guys know, we have talked about this for... Lord Voldemort has talked about this for many years. And he said that this was coming. He said, expect this. This is what they're going to do. Folks are going to do it. They're going to do it. They're going to take him out. Now, on top of that, I give many interviews as well saying that this was probably what they would resort to. I think in the Roger Stone interview that I did, I was did a whole show with Roger Stone, and I think we came up with this as the likely scenario at the end of the interview. I'm going from memory. I think that's how the interview ended. That this might be what they resorted to. Now, of course, we don't know all the details per se. Discuss the possibility of all of the types of scenarios that would push a kind of a manufactured civil war. We, of course, have said not to engage in that, not to be involved in that. There would be a lot of rolled out feds, provocateurs, all this kind of stuff, which we've seen, in my opinion, rolled out in the last several months all over Twitter, all over the internet, going insane, provocateuring to a level of provocateuring I've never even seen. Okay, we're talking like Fed orgiastic bonanza. Okay. And we said this would happen. So I think it's important, first of all, to understand we don't know the details exactly what happened. To me, it looks like, if we look at the clip, it looks like there's a clipping of the ear that occurs in the photos. It does look like the ear is genuinely clipped. It does look like Trump genuinely is reacting. So it's not a fly on the wall or something like that. So
they see something that said, take a look what...
Let's get the big... I'll show you guys the bigger image here. Okay, hopefully that's a better perspective. And notice that it seems to graze his ear. It sounds like a firework. Baby, you're a firework. Pop, pop. Okay, so he can tell it hits his ear, right? And then the photos shows the grazing. Now, one thing that's surprising is that the people in the background there, as I said, it's odd to me that the people in the background wouldn't have hit the ground. But also, if you're at a big, wild, live event, there's a lot of noise. You might not have known what that noise is. You might have thought it was a firework or something like that, or, you know, somebody just setting off some damn poppers, you know what I'm saying? Somebody just doing a little M80s over there. Over there. But I'm not, like, I have a couple guns, but I'm not super, like, gun proficient. So we got bros, we got gun bros all over the internet. That's a 1684 compressor with a 3-inch highlighter laser clip profusion button on it. Like, talking about some stuff I have no idea. I don't know. My analysis is not the techniques, obviously, but the history of these types of events and what would be the likely scenarios that perhaps establishment figures might call for in terms of motivations. And this comes from a lot of analysis of, say, the JFK event. The JFK event is kind of a classic boomer conspiracy. I'm not a master of the JFK event, but I have read several books on it. So I'm familiar with, you know, some of the classics, the Jim Mars text, Mark Lane book, some other lesser known books. And I have read the Michael Collins Piper book, as people always ask me, you ain't read the real book. Yes, I have. I've read that one as well. But you know what's weird about this one? This event, we were just talking about weird movie scenarios. And I came across an article that I just cited in my book. I'm writing the third Esoteric Hollywood book. And I was writing about these kinds of operations in history. And do you remember that the plot of the Steve King book, Dead Zone, or at least the movie, with Christopher Walken, wow, Walken, wow, I'm going to put this in your ass. Walken, wow. If you remember, Walken is in Dead Zone, and he is getting premonitions that somebody will take out a politician because of loud noises. What are you guys talking about? Because of the wacky views. So the idea is that we can't let this politician get elected because he'll destroy the country or something like that. That's the plot of this novel. And I haven't read this novel, but I've seen, if we're talking about the movie here. And I remember I heard some liberal weirdos were citing this movie and saying, this is the scenario now. We got to take him out because it's going to be a dictatorship. Now, what was... Talking to me? Talking to me? What was Robert De Niro saying the other day, right? That Trump will bring a dictatorship. I mean, everybody who has an IQ above 80 knows that this is completely ridiculous. The idea that Donald Trump will bring a dictatorship. I mean, you can't be for serious. For seriously? Like the most uber capitalist president is somehow going to result in some kind of weird dictatorship when it's the opposite side of the spectrum that enforces the most dictatorial policies. Now, I do have criticisms of Trump, so I'm not totally without criticisms. Certain things have happened, as you guys, I'm sure, are aware in the last few years. Other policies, fast speed policies, etc. But if you remember, there was the UK white paper think tank stuff that we went through, the Integrity, I think it was the Integrity Initiative, and then some other UK think tank, and they were putting out the papers around the time of cooking up Russiagate, and they were saying our modus operandi of the liberal world order cannot survive another Trump administration, not so much even because of Trump, but because of the fact that the populace that supports Trump has within it this ability to like wake up even faster to things, even despite Trump himself. So that, I think, is what they're arguing constituted more of a danger than even Trump himself. And then, of course, Lord Voldemort's close connection to Trump also made it even more dangerous because it's sort of like a pipeline. Remember how people went from like Peterson to Pajot to me to Orthodoxy or something like that? Or like, there's this pipeline of Trump, Alex Jones, and then, greater degrees of rabbit hole awakenedness. So it's not even necessarily all about the person of Trump, but the abilities within these alternative circles to circulate information in a much faster way. I think that was the concern of the establishment. And no, I don't think everything is fake. I think this is a mistake to think that everything is fake. That itself is another kind of PsyOp. So, not everything is fake. That's crazy. Now, we don't know, obviously, all the details, again, of what's going on. This just happened. But I thought it was important to kind of go over some of the basics and remind people of the reality of these types of events. And that's why we were talking about this for so long. That's why months ago I had that interview with Roger Stone. And we talked about these types of scenarios that since the lawfare and all of that didn't seem to work, and the more that they pushed Russiagate, the more they pushed the scandals, P-Gate, the more they pushed other scenarios, it only made Trump more and more popular. And so there wasn't a whole lot left to do other than to say, okay, so if this go around, if he seems even more sassy, and I would argue Trump's a little more sassy. I mean, we got him past the boomer phase of being anti-Bitcoin. He's about to go speak at the Nashville Bitcoin conference. I honestly didn't expect Trump would move to being pro-Bitcoin. I honestly did not expect that. And again, I still have some areas of where I would disagree with Trump. So I'm not being totally, and I don't even really, you guys know I don't focus very much on like politics. But when something occurs that's relevant to the big geopolitical sphere, then I cover it. And this is certainly, I think, relevant because it also speaks to what, we can expect down the road. We can expect the possibility of more big events to push more division, to push more of a, what were these movies that just popped up? Alex Garland's Civil War, right? Are we moving towards the push for an actual division of the U.S.? There have been elite plans to sort of, I think, divide this country for a long time. Are we moving into that phase? It's possible. Yes, I see you guys' comment. If you guys want to support the stream, you can do so via Streamlabs right there. I thought Alex Garland's Civil War was terrible, but it was such a massive sort of propaganda build up and push. I think it's relevant to consider Obama's Leave the World Behind, yet another scenario of, we're going to go into this apocalyptic scenario. We're going to have this, big situation, this big ordeal. It's going to be a big war. And what's funny is, of course, Trump, for whatever criticisms you have, he's not pro-war. So Trump is the anti-war candidate, at least for the most part. He's not always consistent with it, but at least for the most part, he says, I would end that, Ukraine would be over in one day. I would end Ukraine in one day. Do your lips into a square. Sleepy Joe. One day, Zelensky, it's over. Anyway, but I am happy to see that Trump is good. He survived, he's fine, and that's good news. Shout out to the chat. We got over 1,000. Welcome, everybody. So remember this in the big picture scenario of the last several years. A lot of people have forgotten the positive things that Trump has done, right? Trump did critique and talk about Federal Reserve quite a bit. Okay, he did recently say, let's move on to Bitcoin. These are great moves. Trump will be the president. We've got George Clooney over here talking about, Sleepy Joe needs to rest, right? He needs to retire and not be in this race. We got Obama over here with George Clooney over here saying it. You know what I mean? Look, we need to get Joe to step down. Listen, Joe, you need to take a break. I'm over here on a yacht. I'm over here touching butts with George Clooney. We need Joe to step down. And look, Joe didn't want to step down. So what? That's where we're at. Now they're saying that this dude, that the perp is no longer around. The perp is not here. But it reminds me too of the JFK event and the Reagan event. So if you guys don't recall, of course, I think there were policies that JFK was discussing that made him not amenable to very powerful figures. So I don't believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was a lone assassin. We do have, for example, the conflicting accounts of St. John Hunt. E. Howard Hunt. St. John is his son. E. Howard Hunt, of course, claimed towards his deathbed confession was involved in being at the Grassy Knoll and being involved in that event. We have the history of other people being involved in that, other foreign entities being involved in that through certain books that have come out. So you have to keep that in mind as a background to how this kind of stuff is done. And again, we don't know what happened here, but my suspicion would be that probably what happens, if you noticed in the last week, you saw those viral clips, right? There was that Skittles woman with a lot of colors everywhere, and she was calling for this. We've had intelligence and deep STATE people say that this kind of thing needs to happen, right? So my guess would be that probably it's a wound up loon. That would be my guess, but I don't know, and we don't know yet. So I do think that the overall idea is to push for kind of a breakdown in America, a civil war type of breakdown scenario. For the flaws that Trump has and the criticisms that we would have, I think he still is too sassy of an individual, shall we say. And so there's not a whole lot of options left from that vantage point. But are we still... Did they cut my stream? Anyway, I'm still here. If you guys want to support the stream, you can do so via super chats through Streamlabs. We might not be able to do this or leave this here. So, guys, I want to remind you guys, we may have to do this over on Rockfin. So I don't think they may not let me do this over here. I don't know. But the other thing I wanted to mention is the Reagan event, and I think at the time of Reagan, he was notoriously kind of defying what the CFR and people like Bush Sr., who were the VP, what they were up to, and so I think they kind of sent the message to Reagan. This might be a kind of sending a message too, except. It might have been more than just sending a message. It might have been, and look, it's like Lord Voldemort said, after this kind of a thing, the next scenario would be that it'll also go after other figures, like Tucker, Rogan perhaps, Lord Voldemort. So, we can be hypercritical and overly critical, but I think we have to be not overly conspiratorial. People get way conspiratorial and they think everything is, and it's not. And not everything is a conspiracy. Not everything is 666 dimensional chess. So anyway, that's my opening thoughts here. Appreciate it. If I do another stream on this topic, we'll probably have to move over and talk about more sassy things over on Rockfin. You can follow me on Rockfin right here. The show sponsor is, of course, Chalk.com. Head on over to Chalk.com. Use promo code J44Life. That's JAY44LIFE to get a hold of the best in supplementation. And appreciate you guys. Now remember, it's Chalk.com, CHOQ.com, JAY44Life.
Chad Mode is your ultimate natural pre-workout, designed to take your performance to the next level. Chad Mode is for Natty Beast alphas only. Whether you're hitting the gym, invading a favela, conquering a small village, gambling, burning the midnight oil, mogging on your coworkers, or getting banned from Facebook, Chad Mode gives you the competitive edge you need. It's as simple as mixing 1 or 2 scoops of our fine powder into water or juice, providing you with a delicious, energizing beverage featuring a burst of sweet, organic fruit flavor. Chad Mode will give you the extra edge you desperately crave. Chad Mode stands out from the crowd by excluding artificial flavors, preservatives, sweeteners, and dyes. We've even avoided so-called natural flavors, ensuring a clean and effective formula. Only soy boys and betas guzzle blue dye and sucralose, further tanking their already low testosterone levels. Chad mode is made in America. Unlike your common TikTok peasant's pre-workout powder, it does not contain Chinese lab-made caffeine and artificial sweeteners that soy boys so often crave. Experience the pure goodness of Chad mode with Blue Magic registered trademark organic blue spirulina extract, organic lemon, cherry, and organic maple crystals. Forget synthetic caffeine. Embrace the...
We do have a super chat from Jquo. He says, what do you think of this saying that it's a Death of the King event, that it's ushering in something like a new republic? Yeah, this of course comes from the book, or the essay I guess you could say, by James Shelby Downard. It's a kind of a popular underground essay dealing with the King Kill ritual, right? I don't know, because of course this didn't happen, so Trump thankfully did survive, and so we definitely should pray for our leaders and pray that God, even Joe Biden, pray that God leads them in the right direction, even if they are wayward. So it could be a deeper kind of, I mean, I think Downard, when he wrote that, he was writing about Camelot, which relates to the, Kennedys and the Kennedy circles known as Camelot and all that, and that the Camelot connection is a kind of a king kill event. But I don't know. I think that this is just sort of like the establishment kind of striking back, in my opinion. So Pig James says for $2.20, can you refer to the source that Marxism was exported to Russia by the Western elites? I know about Sutton's books, but they talk about the revolution, not the ideology. Well, the revolution is part of the ideology, so I'm not sure if you thought that I was saying that there's some specific book. Now, Warburg has letters that he wrote where he talks about that as well in his published letters. So there is actual elite documentation for it too that I've read. Those are kind of rare though. I had access to those in a research laboratory. A research library. Grad research library when I was in grad school. So, it's weird because we live in this era now where a lot of these books won't be available. But it's in Warburg's published letters. I think it's a 2-volume published letters where he talks about that. And the hope they had hope that the revolution would succeed in Russia, Bolsheviks. So, but the ideology is connected to the figures who go and Trotsky and others who would then go and push the ideology. So that's what I'm saying, is that Marxism begins in England in terms of what's exported to. I know that Marxism or communism is ultimately German, and you could go back to, I know where Marx is from, but I'm saying Engels was the wealthy stock owner who was the funder of Karl Marx. So anyway, thank you guys. Let's keep it under 30, and I might stream again on this later over on Rockfin. You can follow me on Rockfin in the link right here. And I'll put this in the chat. Everybody have a good evening, and get ready for time to get our ducks in order, because it looks like things are getting crazy in our world. No, I know that. Don't try to call me out on that shit, man. Come on. I'm saying begins in Germany because that's where Karl Marx is. I didn't blame Marxism on Germans. I'm so sick of you people trying to call me out on shit that I'm not even saying. Like, come on, Nordy Chad. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you people think I didn't learn about this stuff. I learned about this stuff way before any of y'all did. What are you talking about? And people who just learned this stuff last year, they want to come call me out. It's just so annoying. Come on, dude. I'm saying that it began in Germany, not from Germans. I'm not blaming Germans for Marxism. Marxism is older even than Kabbalism. Did you know that? Because it's communism and socialism comes from actually Plato. And if you listen to my stream on Kabbalism, I actually went into the history of that. So